You're in a clinical session and it starts to feel like your client is just gossiping. Do they really need therapy, or is there something else that they could get more use out of? Maybe they're even talking a lot about other people and how angry they are at other people, but you haven't quite found a place to start doing therapy. This is part of First Sessions, a clinical skills series for new therapists. Today I'm going to introduce the self-protection layers, a method for getting below the anger when you're dealing with a client who has a lot of anger to express or who has a difficult time identifying with other feelings altogether. In self-protection layers, our assumption is that anger is a little bit easier to access than some of the other emotions, and it's for good reason, because anger is on the outside like an onion and it can be really protective. So we will start with anger, move into what the fear is, move into what the pain is, move into a protected emotion that is shame, and under all of that, somewhere we'll find the truth. I'm going to walk through an example and how to apply each layer in the example and how to consider it with your client. The goal here, and I say this a lot, it's that our client can learn something that they can take with them and that they will be better at navigating these emotions, better at applying these frameworks, better at thinking through future situations and just considering all of the aspects and how valid each emotion that comes up is. They'll be able to recognize all of that more quickly, and eventually they'll be able to do it even without us. So we're not just providing support or encouragement, we're really trying to equip them with skills that they'll have far beyond their relationship with us. So if a client is sharing, I use this example a lot, it's about adolescence, but certainly you can think of any example for how to apply it to your adult clients or even your younger child clients. We will start with a really common adolescent example of my two friends ditched me this weekend and they went to the mall without me. Now you can imagine how easy it would be just to get caught up in that top layer of they're such jerks, they left me out, oh, I'm so mad, I never want to talk to either of them again, I can't believe they did that. So if we are on the anger layer, we will start to identify what's causing that anger. And I like to teach folks that we're really pointing and saying, you did this, and that's how we're going to tap into the anger. So you left me out, you didn't think about me, you ditched me and hung out together. That's where the anger is. That's the anger layer of this example. You did this. Next, we have fear, and how I like to teach what fear sounds like or what fear looks like is what if. So if I get ditched by my two friends, the fear comes in next. And again, oftentimes we're not naturally noticing this because we're just looking at anger and what the person did to us. But if we're peeling off that top layer and going into the fear, what if? What if they never include me again? What if I'm not their friend anymore? What if they don't actually like me and that's why they were so comfortable going off together? What if they talked about me the whole time? What else can you think of here? What if they made other friends without me and now those friends know that I got left out and I wasn't there? What if they did something that'll now be an inside joke that I'm not included on? What if? Okay, that's the fear layer. Now we're really getting serious, because once you peel that layer off, we're going to look at the pain. What am I sad about? Where does it hurt me? It hurts me because I felt lonely. It hurts me because I was sad. It hurts me because I was left out. It hurts me because I missed out on whatever they did that day. Now they're just telling the stories about the day that I missed, and I'm feeling sad, lonely, left out. Under this next layer could be a session all on its own to start thinking about. Different modalities call this next piece different things. I'm calling it shame here, but we might also be calling it the cognitive distortion, the negative core belief, the negative cognition. Lots of words that point to the same thing here. And just to identify here an important distinction, guilt is I did something bad, but shame, which is what we're talking about, is I am something bad. Shame is often with us from a much earlier age, and in shame, we really have a negative belief about ourselves, and it leaves an exposed nerve. So when somebody, a friend, or in this case, two friends, touches that nerve, it makes us light up in pain, fear, and anger because we feel found out. We're really thinking about what set us off so bad in this case when we were left out. And so we might be exploring with our client, is it feelings of belonging? That is a big one for so many people. Do I worry that I don't belong, that I'm unlovable, that I'm not good enough, that I'm not worthy? And by being left out of that meetup, it really struck a nerve. It really tapped that big shame that I carry around with me. Maybe it is a feeling of safety and security. That's another big one for people. Did I feel like my relationships are compromised, like I'm going to end up alone, like I'm not going to have anyone to count on? And with this, we can go as far back as we need to, but really explore how that shame has shown up for our client. And then further down than that, if you can believe, is the truth. So the truth is where we're really able to look at the nuggets of truth from both sides and hold the pieces of what happened with all of these levels of feelings that came up for us when they happened. In this example, I always say, I can own that my friends did mention that this was a plan and they knew I was grounded. Or this plan had come up before and I mentioned that in my household, I am not permitted to walk around the mall, or I don't have a ride, or I'm really not interested in hanging out like that. I like to do more active hangouts usually. And so maybe they didn't even think that that's something that I wanted to do. And maybe it wasn't something I wanted to do. I just really didn't want to be left out, or I wanted to be included. So once we really attune to this truth piece, we can figure out how to handle it. Do we make them aware that I feel a bit sensitive to being left out? So even if you know I'm going to hate the activity, would it be cool if you just mentioned it to me so I'm able to say that I'm not allowed to go, or that I would rather meet up after and do something that we all like to do? Is there a way that we can meet that agreement in our friendship? Or maybe it's none of that. Maybe those things didn't happen and I decide, I've encountered being left out before, and maybe this is something that I want to talk to them about, that my boundary is that I want to be included in this friendship group, and is there anything I could do to get there? We're able to really, after we identify the truth and all of the emotions that come up, we might really be able to attune to not only what leads us to still be participating in this friendship, but maybe what leads us to seek out friends who don't activate some of these emotions, or seek out friends who activate more positive emotions. But these self-protection layers really give us a great place to start, where our client can leave this meeting with us and take it after they're not meeting with us anymore. Go ahead and check out the playlist links in the description so you can see what other clinical skills you might need to work with your clients.